My name is Tamika.
And I'm Tamara.
And welcome to Wilkie's Words of Wisdom.
So today is Good Friday, and so we thought we'd do this video just to share what is Good Friday. We're going to look at scriptural references, as well as we're going to discuss what's so good about Good Friday. Is Good Friday really good?
Is it?
Alright, so we're even going to maybe even sing a song.
You might hear us sing a song.
You'll see. So like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. Subscribe to the channel, just so that you're a part of the family, so that you know whenever we post a video. Also click the notification bell. Please stay tuned. Alright, so given that today is Good Friday, we thought that we'd just share with you on the matter of Good Friday. What is Good Friday? And basically Good Friday is the Friday before Easter Sunday, or as we call it, Resurrection Sunday. It is the time that we commemorate what Christ did for us. Christ's crucifixion on Calvary for us. That's basically what Good Friday is all about. It's a time of reflection. It's a time that we think about what Jesus did for us and to see where we come into play in all of this. Good Friday, this video in particular, is a follow-up from the two videos that we did. Two of the videos that we did already. The one about Lent, and also the other one on Palm Sunday, which was Sunday, just Sunday.
Yeah. So
right.
we'll link it somewhere up here
Up
on the
top.
screen, so you can go back and watch those videos if you haven't
Right.
gotten a chance to.
Right, and so basically this happening of Good Friday is the last, well, it's about the last commemorating the last moments Jesus was here on earth.
Yes.
It's a time that some people deem to be a very sad moment, and but it's a time that we look at Jesus's last moments on earth. And there are several scriptures. The scriptures will be in the description, as well as we'll maybe put some on the screen, I don't know. But definitely in the description, there are several of them. But the one that we're focusing on is the one from Matthew 27, verses 11 to 65. And I'm going to ask again, you can read it on your time. We'd love to have you read it. Read it, and then we can have some discussions in the comment section. Right? So basically what happened, just to give you a synopsis of what happened, what took place. So Jesus was arrested like the Thursday night before, so he was arrested and he was brought into custody. In our day we call it custody, but basically he was just
Taken to the king.
Right, taken before the king, and they were asking several questions, because it was customary that if you're going to release somebody, you have to have somebody else take that person's place. So they would want to release somebody, and then another person would have to pay for that person's sins or whatever they did, whatever act they committed. And so they were before this king. They were censored before the king. Jesus was there, and there were people there shouting, "Crucify him! Crucify him! Give us Barabbas!" and crucify Jesus. Now bear in mind, we spoke about some people in the Lent video, and we spoke about some people who were there in the Palm Sunday video. Now bear in mind that the people who were there were some of the same people who walked with him on Sunday.
Yes.
And journeyed with him, take off their clothes and put it down before him, wave the palm trees and everything. And some of these same people, knowing that he was a very innocent person, he did nothing to be given this kind of treatment. They were shouting, "Crucify him, crucify him, give us Barabbas and crucify Jesus." And that was exactly what happened. Jesus was taken into custody and Barabbas was released. Okay, so Jesus was there, and so it came to the point now where he was supposed to be crucified. So they took him and they gave him this cross to carry.
Yes.
Now bear in mind, this wasn't any ordinary cross. I'm wearing a cross necklace. This is nothing compared to what Jesus carried on his back. Now I don't have the stats right now, but it was a very heavy cross that he had to carry on his back alone. And when he went, they whipped him, the spat upon him. They did everything to embarrass him. They curse him out and everything. And then finally they nail him upon that cross.
And just one thing to interject. Remember, well, one of the things about crucifying somebody is that it was one of the most embarrassing type or the most crucial type of death, because it was torture. They were tortured, they were beaten, nails went through their skin and they were left to die. It was like a torturous thing to do to somebody. So it was probably one of the worst types of death that could have ever taken place.
Yeah, but Jesus, being blameless, being without sin, decided to take upon himself the sins of the world, for me, for you, for all of us, the sins of the world. He decided to do that. Now, when he was upon that cross, they pierced his hands with nails. Right. Pierced him with nails, and in his feet as well. And they placed upon his head a crown in mockery of him, a crown of thorn upon his head, just to mock him. And they wrote above his head, King of the Jews. Jesus Christ, the King of the Jews. And put that above his head, just to embarrass him and shame him. That was what it was all about. Shame, embarrassment, and just disgrace overall. They also took his garment and ripped it, and they basically were gambling over it. But through all this, Jesus remained faithful, and that's something that we need to remember as we reflect on this Palm Sunday, Good Friday. Jesus remained faithful. He was faithful even to the point of death. And something else to note as well, that Jesus' entire life, the reason he came, the reason there is a Lenten season where he went into the wilderness and he fasted and prayed and sought God for the 40 days. The reason he came on that colt and was journeying back to Jerusalem was all for this reason. That's why Jesus came. He lived to die so that you and I can receive salvation. Now, in talking about salvation, we have to mention this on this Good Friday. That is the reason Jesus came.
Yes.
So that we might be saved. Now, people look at it and say, oh, this was a physical act. Yes, it was a physical act with a spiritual meaning. So his dying was meaning to take on the sins of the world for those of us who lie habitually or lie any at all.
Any
for those
form of sin.
Any form of sin. There's no little sin or big sin. Sin is just sin. And that's the reason Jesus came, to take sin upon himself so that we can live free and we can live a life that's pleasing unto him.
Yeah, and the sin that Jesus took upon himself at that time was not just for those who lived back then, but it's also for us and for the future. Mm-hmm. It is for every person that could possibly come on this earth. He took on that sin. Can you imagine? That was a heavy burden to bear, and he bore it all by himself.
Right, because there was a part in Matthew 27 which spoke about the fact that when he was on the cross, he cried out, Eli, Eli, lama sabachthani.
Yes.
And that was just to say, God, why are you forsaking me? He was in that moment just, he felt all that burden, he felt all that pain, he felt the sins of the world. And that's what he was crying out to God for. But he remained faithful through it all.
And one of the things, this is, even though while we're talking about Jesus and what happened on the cross, I have to mention, even at that point in time, grace abounded, because there were two thieves, one on his right, one on his left, and one of them was basically mocking him and saying that if you say you're the Son of God or you're king, why don't you take yourself down, save us and save yourself too? And the other one said, listen, Father, remember me when you enter into paradise. And basically
so
he repented. So basically what Jesus did was to forgive him and say, today you will be with me in paradise. So that's just to show us that even at that point in time, no matter which state we are, if we are feeling sinful or whatever, Jesus still saves and his grace abounds.
Grace abounds. Now, the last thing about the scripture that I want to mention is the fact that Jesus said, it is finished.
Yes.
It is finished.
What does that mean?
It basically means that his role in coming into this earth was complete. His mission was complete, and his mission was to save the world. Can you imagine that Jesus was the first superhero?
Yeah. And
The first
the
superhero
only
and
one
the
for
only
me.
and best one, because no other superhero, Spider-Man, whatever other man out there can't save the sins of the world, but Jesus did.
Yes.
Right? So when he said it is finished, he meant that his mission, the commission, the awesome task that he had was finished. So that means that we can now say it is finished.
Yes.
It is done. It's already done.
It is paid.
It is paid. Paid in full.
Paid in full.
Stamp and seal by the blood of Jesus Christ.
Yes. Yes, so after talking about all of this that happened, we have to now look at, why is Good Friday good? Do
Is
we
it
believe,
really good?
Do we believe it's really good? Before I tell you what I think, comment in the comment section down below. Do you think that Good Friday is good? What makes Good Friday good for you? If it is, if not, let us know. Why isn't Good Friday good for you? Take a second, take a minute if you need it, and comment in the comment section down below. What do you think? We can tell you, but we want to hear from you. What do you think? Alright, so for us, let me approach answering this question this way. The cross and all that happened, I wouldn't want to know. I'm not happy to know that Jesus bore all of this, the slaps and the, everything that happened.
It was a gruesome act.
Yeah, it was gruesome. So I am not happy about that. What for me the cross represents is victory. Victory of the spirit over flesh. It represents life, it represents hope, and it represents healing. It represents all of that, all of what Jesus took on our behalf. That's what it represents for me. Salvation. These are the results of what Jesus, these are what is coming out. These are the things that came out from what Jesus did on the cross. These are the results of him being selfless. And so for me, that is what makes Good Friday good.
Right. So Good Friday, the act that happened on that Good Friday wasn't really a good thing. I mean, slapping somebody is never a good thing, and it was way more than slapping. It wasn't a good thing, but
They fed him vinegar.
what came out of it was good, which is salvation for all.
Yes.
The remission of sin
Yes.
for all.
Yes.
That is what is good.
Yeah, and I'm reminded that in Isaiah where it says, he was wounded for our transgressions, bruised for our iniquities. The chastisement of our peace was upon him, and with his stripes we are healed. I'm reminded of that, and I believe that those things, because of those things, I would say Good Friday, the result of what came out of Jesus' selfless act, that's what makes Good Friday good for me. When Jesus said, it is finished, means that all debt is paid, all the debts and sins of the world, it is paid in full. So I am grateful, and that's what makes Good Friday good for me. So I indeed believe that Good Friday is truly good because it happened, all of this happened, and what came from it is victory.
Yeah, it was
That's
just,
what makes it
it
good.
was just a selfless act. A selfless act which resulted in something good.
Yes.
Because of it, we have salvation. Because of it, we have access to salvation. Because of it, we have access to healing, deliverance, whatever we need. It is already done.
Yeah. And he did that. There's no longer need to have somebody go on your behalf to kill animals or make sacrifices, and in that regard, we
The
don't have to
ultimate
do
sacrifice.
that. Yeah, the ultimate sacrifice has been made. The spotless lamb in the form of Jesus paid all of that. So when we sing Jesus paid it all, he truly paid it all for us. So that's what makes Good Friday good.
So we'd like to share this song with you.
Yes.
Alright, this song is
Above All by Michael W. Smith. It is a song that we've always sung as a child, and we want to share it.
as we share in this moment of reflection on this Good Friday, we'll just share this song. Above all powers, above all kings, above all nature and all created things, above all wisdom and all the ways of man, you were here before the world began.
Above all kingdoms above all wonders the world has ever known, above all wealth and treasures of the earth. There's no way to measure what you're worth. Crucified, laid behind the stone, you live to die, rejected and alone, like a rose trampled on the ground. You took the fall, and thought of me above all. Crucified, laid behind the stone, you lived to die, rejected and alone, like a rose trampled on the ground. You took the fall, and thought of me above all. You took the fall, and thought of me above all. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time.